Hey guys, Metal Jesus here, and I am back again with John Riggs.
And we have 12 PlayStation VR hidden gems, my friend.
Oh, and I just got a PlayStation VR, so this is perfect for me.
Right on time.
Let's take a look. All right, dude, so you have 12 hidden gems here, but I gotta laugh because for some people like me that just got into the system, every game's a hidden gem.
Well, there's some people too, the system is so new that it might be that none of the games are hidden gems because they're all right there, but not all of them are right there. Some of them are kind of hidden. Some of them just came out for the VR.
And I'm really surprised that when I bought my VR, there are a ton of games. There are way more digital games than I ever knew about.
Oh, there's a flood of them, man.
Yeah.
And they're all kind of hidden in the PlayStation Store and all that.
Well, I can tell by looking here that there are already some games I didn't know about, so this is going to be awesome. So what do you want to start with?
Let's start right off with the King of the Kings. This is called Superhot VR. Again, is it a hidden gem? I mean, it won so many awards already.
Yeah, well, so I've heard of this game, but I don't know much about it. So I'm going to call it a hidden gem.
All right, I'll call it a hidden gem too. This game is a must-have for the PlayStation VR. It's available physically overseas. You can get downloaded digitally in America. What happens in the game, you can have a sneak peek on the back there. What it is you're standing there and everything is frozen in time, but when you move, the enemy moves.
Okay.
And it's your job to defeat the enemy. Well, how that happens is it's very Matrix-y-like, where you can either punch them with your move controllers, you can actually, swipe at them. They have full body mechanics too, so if they're close enough, you can actually kind of like sweep their legs and their bodies will contort and push them into other enemies. Or you can pick up guns or items that are around, like wine bottles and stuff, and you can throw them at them. But again, everything moves in slow motion, so only when you're moving are they moving, so you can stop, freeze, calculate your next move by looking around a little bit and say, okay, now I'm going to grab this throwing star here, throw it at this guy. He's going to throw his gun up in the air. I'm going to grab his gun, shoot this guy over here. Bolts are chasing you, so you actually have to maneuver Matrix-y out of the way. Standing up playing it, I mean, it gives you a lot of workout.
Oh, yeah. Now, I'm noticing here that it says 2 PlayStation Move controllers are required.
Yes.
So that's a little bit unusual, but you do need to know that because some games may not require them, but are better with them.
Correct. And if you have a PlayStation VR, I'm also going to say right up front, you're going to want the move controllers as well. You don't have to get the PlayStation VR, and this might be for the buying guide, you don't have to get the PlayStation VR with the move controllers because plenty of game stores, it's the same move controllers that were for the PlayStation 3.
Yeah.
You can find them cheap at a lot of places.
Yeah, it's true. I want to play it. I've heard so many good things. Also, I just love the idea of a first-person shooter with this kind of time-stopping mechanic. This is so cool.
It's a very, very fun game, no doubt about it. A game kind of like that, but also definitely worth mentioning as a game for the download. It's only digital so far. Hopefully, please, it'll be a physical copy eventually. It's called Just in Time.
Okay.
And that's a game where you play, your character in the game is you work for an agency, and people who sign up for your agency have a kind of like a second chance of life. So it's your job to go to these policyholders and say, oh, they're about to die. So then it's your job to step in line and make sure they don't die.
Whoa. Okay,
so
that's cool.
It's kind of a cross between Superhot and Job Simulator.
Now it is first person though, right?
It's first person.
Okay.
So one of them is you have these army men who are crossing a bridge while the enemies are attacking them. So it's your job to get in their way. You can, with your gloves, you can grab enemy bullets and reflect them and shoot them somewhere else.
Wow, that sounds cool.
Including like helicopters and jets and stuff. You can grab their missiles and kind of turn them around and shoot them back at the thing. And you can, I mean, it's a lot of fun. It's one of those games that you have to experience for yourself. Once you're in there though, it's the creative writing of the whole thing. And the guys who made the game even included the game in progress levels. So you can actually go through and say, like, one of them was just for fun. There's an old lady and like 10 or 12 angry old men who are like chasing her with a knife. So you have to go up to them, and everything moves in slow motion too. So you go up to them and you can grab their own knife and stab themselves in the head, and you have to protect the old lady and stuff like that.
Wow. Okay.
It's a lot of fun. I mean, just the video shows it all. So.
Okay. Cool.
Let's talk about this game since we're already talking about guns and stuff. It's the American Dream.
I have never heard of this before. So it says a samurai punk virtual reality trip. That sounds like a trip.
That sounds about right. Again, physical overseas, digitally here in America as well. You can download it right now. It starts off, it plays like a ride at an amusement park. It plays kind of like you're sitting on one of those, like the Haunted Mansion, kind of like travel along roller coaster-y things.
Right.
And it's set in that kind of nuclear family, like, it's
like Fallout.
It's America, yeah.
Okay.
Hot dogs and baseball and all that. But you go through life. You start out as a baby and you work your way through all the stages of life. But everything you do involves guns. So when your mom is feeding you in the beginning, she's putting a gun in a bowl of whatever she's feeding you with and like putting that in your mouth.
Sounds crazy.
You have to, like later on in life, you get you're playing catch with your dad in the backyard. You're playing catch by him throwing footballs at you and you're shooting the footballs out of the air with your gun.
That's what they do in America.
Does that sound about right?
Yeah.
I think so.
That's what we did growing up.
Yep. You get a job earlier on. You get a job later on in life working at a diner grill, making cheeseburgers and all that. And you have to flip the patties by shooting the patties with your gun and then shooting the orders up thing. So
that sounds hilarious.
It's pretty funny, man. And it's the American dream. What can I say?
Okay.
Guns with everything. One game, it's not really a game, it's more of an experience, but one of the first games I had to grab when I grabbed my PlayStation VR is the Apollo 11 mission. There's a couple of interactive elements, or you can just watch it and experience it.
Okay.
It's maybe a half an hour or so. It's available digitally, not very much, but it's fun. It's the Apollo 11 when you're in the space shuttle and you fly to the moon.
Oh, cool.
And then you're on the moon and you do the moon landing. And it's historical. You learn along the way.
Yeah.
It has news clips, like the audio that you hear everything. But when you're on the moon, you can actually walk around on the moon.
I don't mind.
And you look up and you see, the VR element is what gets it.
I was going to say, I don't mind those kind of experiences every once in a while because, this PlayStation Worlds.
Oh, yeah.
The really common one that everyone got has this underwater one. Very similar, where you're just kind of hanging out. You can have the shark on or off if you want. But,
Sure.
but it's cool. I like those experiences for people who are not necessarily sure if they're going to like VR. Like the first experience, like, here, try this.
Right, and it's not no motion sickness or anything like that.
Yeah, exactly. You just experience it and see what the whole thing's about.
You don't have to worry about hitting buttons at the right time or anything. You're just experiencing this, and again, this is me going back to loving astrology. Astronomy?
Yeah.
Astrology. Astronomy. Almost got it. All right, next time for sure. It's cool to see the Earth unframed. Because you always see pictures of the Earth, or you see it online, or you see like a photo in a magazine or something like that. But when you actually see Earth unframed and you actually look around a little bit and all that, super cool. And when you're standing on the moon, you can look up and be like, oh, there's what the Earth would look like if you're standing on the moon.
And that's the other thing too, is the scale. Is that the thing? Someone who hasn't tried VR doesn't necessarily understand that scale is what sells it. You know what I mean? It's like, again, with the underwater experience, or like you're seeing on the moon, you're just there. It's so much more impactful.
It really is. It really is. So if you have the capacity, and it's the perfect way to introduce the PlayStation VR to your dad, for instance.
Okay.
Just like, hey, experience the moon landing.
Right.
You know, and there's no like green screen or props falling over. It's just the actual moon landing, right?
Right.
All right. We got to talk about Drunkn boxing. No. We got to talk about Drunkn Bar Fight.
Drunkn Bar Fight.
Drunkn Bar Fight.
Okay.
This game, it's not perfect. It's pretty clunky, I'll be honest with you, but it's one of the most fun experiences I had for the PlayStation VR. You have your choice of bars. When you start out, you have like this country western kind of dive bar. You have a standard, chill bar, and then you have like the skybox bar where you actually take the glass elevator to the top.
I love this already.
You have props everywhere, beer bottles, mugs, there's like gumball machines, there's darts, baseball bats, billiard balls, and all that. And there's some people that are just hanging out in the bar, and it's your job to mess with them.
Really?
So you can pick up the stool and crack it over their head, and then they start to try to box you, and it has that mechanic where you can like move out of the way and try to sucker punch them and all that. And you just get in the fight, and later on, more and more people join in. Sometimes there are women involved.
Yeah.
But you cannot punch them or touch them, because when you do, then the entire bar attacks you all at once.
Oh, really?
Once you knock them out or once you knock them down, you can literally pick them up and throw them through the window and all that. It's so fun and funny to watch. I mean, just the characters on there. just cracked me up. But just going to the country western bar and grabbing like the guitar and bashing him over the head.
Everyone who's watched these old westerns has want to be there, right?
Oh, totally.
Just smash the guy over to like the table that they're playing cards at or something.
Yeah. One of my favorite things, especially when you have like multiple people there, you can grab like one person in each hand and use them as weapons to check out the other guys. But Drunkn Bar Fight, man, that's a game that just cracks me up. Super fun to play. Another one I want to talk about is a game called Dead Secret. It is a first-person, not really. What is it called? Horror, action.
Survival horror?
Survival horror.
Okay.
It's kind of like that, but it's also not scary. So if you're like, I want to play VR, but I don't like jump scares, I can't handle them well, like you can't play like Resident Evil 7, for instance.
Oh, tell me about that. Yeah.
If you don't even want to think about that, this game is like, it's the perfect scary game to play if you don't like playing scary games, because it's not that bad. Okay. It really isn't. Like when you see the enemy person in it, I won't spoil it, they're from a far enough distance away, you're like, oh, there they are, and then you can plan and work around and move around, and you're not walking around. You just kind of, it's point and click style where it's like, I'm going to go to the drawer. Oh, the drawer says I can open the thing. I need a key. I'll have to grab the key, use it on there, go somewhere else. This is a very, very cool adventure, multiple endings too. The whole game won't take you very long. In fact, getting all the endings won't take you very long at all. I do like that you can end the game early. Like as soon as you see your first instance of something's not right in this house, you're playing a journalist. You know, that's the whole point of the game. You're playing a journalist trying to solve this mystery. But as soon as you see that there's something not right with the house, you can go out through the front door. And you're like, nope, game over, I'm done.
Oh, really?
And that's the worst ending
like,
you can
out.
get.
Yeah.
But you're like, I'm just gonna stay in this podunk town for the rest of my life. That's fine. I don't need this journalism skill. I'm just, and I thought that was pretty hilarious.
That is pretty hilarious.
All right, so Dead Secret, might want to check it out. All right, this is one of my favorite. Again, I mean, they're all my favorite experiences, but one of those experiences that you wouldn't really think about until you actually play it is a game called Pinball FX2.
Oh yes, I'm glad you're bringing this
up. The reason it's, I would call it a hidden gem, because you might see it in the shop, and you're like, it's pinball, and there's already a Pinball FX3 that's out now. That's not in VR though. But you're like, you're not playing as the ball. You're just playing pinball. What's the big point? Like, what's the deal? But when you actually play it, you're like, this is the coolest experience ever.
Yeah. That's exactly my reaction to it. Is like, oh my, this is like playing real pinball.
I mean, it's like, proper size, you know, the board and everything, and you're sitting there and you're literally just looking down at the pinball table, but you can kind of like look at the corners, look around, depending on which game you're playing. There's multiple boards you can play as, multiple machines, and then like the surrounding area matches that machine. I think it's kind of fun.
No, it's cool. I actually think that this is one of my favorite VR experiences because I got lost in it. I mean, for one, you don't have to worry about motion sickness. You don't have to worry about any of that.
Sure.
It's just almost the perfect pinball experience. It's amazing.
And you don't have to worry about quarters either.
Yeah, that's true.
50 cents, $1 for pinball? Get out of here.
Yeah, that's crazy. I played this game for way longer than I expected to.
I went through afterwards. Because you download the game, and it comes with a few boards.
Yeah.
And there's a couple of DLC, and I was like, I don't need the DLC. I just want to play these. But as soon as I did, I rushed out and downloaded all of the other boards because I knew I was going to get them eventually.
Yeah. And again, this is getting back to, this is the type of game you would show someone who has never experienced VR.
Right.
Because it's completely safe, it's kind of familiar, they're going to be aware of it, but their mind is going to be blown.
Yeah, it's pinball. It's literally video pinball.
Yeah.
But it's done in VR and done very, very well.
Yeah, definitely.
I love it. And the machines they use on here seem like they could work in real life. It's not like super futuristic. I mean, there's one of them that has the ball goes into the backing, or the ball goes a different direction. But it's like, no, I could actually see a pinball machine actually doing that.
Right.
So maybe we'll see these in real life sometime. You never know.
That's it. Yeah, I'm glad you added that one.
No, me too. Because of course I love it. This game, it came out physically on a multi-disc overseas, but the game I want to talk about is this one called Dexed. D-E-X-E-D. Oh, it's a palindrome. I never thought about that. It's a puzzle game. Your move controllers are, one of them is fire, one of them is ice. You see these other flowing orbs when you're, like the first level is underwater, for instance. And you defeat fire with ice, and you defeat ice with fire. That's about it. But it's really, really fun, and it's done really well, too. It's just kind of fun to experience as you're going around. You can make it as difficult as you want. In fact, there's even a mode on there. You don't even have to play the game. You can just experience going through the level. and not playing anything if you want. However, wow, it's a puzzle game for the PlayStation VR,
and it's a collection like this. It's a compilation. That's awesome.
Yeah, and all of those games that are on there, they're all digitally available in America. Just overseas, that company, since they put out all those games, they're like, we'll make this Ultimate VR collection. Kind of hard to find. There are some overseas retail stores that do sell it. If you look around, if you find it on eBay, you're gonna be paying a premium. But I think I got that one. Oh, I don't remember where I got that one specifically. But yeah, it's the game itself, and the other games that are on there are kind of fine too. But,
sure.
It's kind of fun to see. I would like to see more puzzle games, even if it's like a match 3 of some sort. I'd love to see more puzzle games on the PlayStation VR.
Yeah, I'd agree. Okay, cool.
So, we got Dexed for you. Let's talk about the game called Operation Warcade. You remember Operation Wolf in the arcade?
Yes.
Both dual player machine gun.
Yeah.
Kind of a rail shooter. It's that, but for the PlayStation VR.
Oh.
But it's called Operation Warcade. But it's totally Operation Wolf. When you first start the game, you actually start out in the arcade in front of the Operation Warcade machine.
Oh, really?
And you look around, you can see these other games for the time at the time. But then when you start playing it, you're in the game, which is if you like Operation Wolf, it's that in VR, basically. And then sometimes you can go to the ground level, for instance, like you're traveling along and you're shooting other enemies. The graphics aren't rarely realistic. They're more like 90s style light gun style.
That's cool.
Which is fine by me.
Yeah.
It fits the game perfectly. But there are some modes where instead of being on the rail, then you're on the ground and you're behind a bunker shooting enemies. There's one part where you're actually driving the truck, so one of your hands is controlling the steering wheel while the other one's shooting the other enemies that are around you.
Oh, okay.
And there's other fun, like there's the grenades. You can have to get an ice grenade that freezes everyone. You can shoot them off and everything. But if you love Operation Warcade, or if you love Operation Wolf, Operation Warcade for the PlayStation VR. It just came out a little bit ago. I think it's already a hidden gem because it's one of those, you see it and you're like, I have enough gun games. It's all good. No, you want to check this out. It's available physically overseas. It is actually coming out physically in America soon.
Oh, it is?
So if you want to rush out and grab it, that's fine. But sometime here in the next few months, I understand it is going to be available. So Operation Warcade, look out for it. It's going to be awesome. This next game has a VR mode, and that's the other thing about PlayStation VR. Some of them are, you can play them with or without PlayStation VR. This one has a PlayStation VR mode. I highly recommend playing it PlayStation VR mode. Okay. It's called Megaton Rainfall. This is one of those games that I've seen a few times pop up. I've had a few of my friends say, dude, you gotta check this game out. And I look at the video, and you can see the, through the PlayStation Store, you can see the demo trailer and all that. And you're like, I get it, but I don't know.
Well, it's hard to do, it's hard to sell these VR games in a 2D video.
It really is.
You guys are watching this, and you're like, what's the big deal? But trust me, when you put the goggles on, it's all, It
looks even worse when it's someone else looking at it through the VR goggle, because instead of focusing where your eyes are like an owl, you're seeing the whole screen move all over the place. You're like, I don't even know what's going on. You don't even know what you're trying to focus on. So Megaton Rainfall would be a perfect, if they ever made a first-person Superman game. And you play as kind of like a son of God type character. But you can fly basically anywhere. So you're way up in space and you see what's kind of Earth. It's not really properly Earth. It's not like, Seattle or anything like that. But when you fly in, you zoom down and then you go through the clouds and then here's the land and you find a city and you can actually land in the city. And then these giant, it reminds me of the final scene for the first Avengers movie with Iron Man. It's a lot like Iron Man, where you're firing these cannons at these alien ships that are coming down at you, and then they fly to the next city. So then you have to fly to the next city, and everything's destructive. So they're destroying buildings. If your shot misses, a building will collapse.
Oh, really?
And you'll lose people. And
in VR, that's probably pretty cool.
In VR,
you get to see it all break apart.
It's very, very cool to see in VR, and you feel really, really bad because a lot of you see ships, alien ships that are sucking up cars and people. And then you kill the ship, and then everything just kind of drops. You're like, oh man, I hope those people are all right.
Don't think about it too much, dude.
No, I know. I'm just trying to save the world here. I don't know, man. It's called Megaton Rainfall, and it is definitely worth checking out.
Okay.
And to experience what it could be like. Hopefully, maybe we'll get a Superman, VR down the line.
Now, I haven't seen the footage yet, but the flying part, is it actually flying? I mean,
you're flying. Yeah, you're flying first-person perspective. Okay. It does have the safety on, which is whatever you turn.
That's what I was going to ask
when it kind of shades a little bit, so your peripheral. And that's what causes the motion sickness.
Do you get motion sick with things like that, with a lot of movement, forward movement?
I get motion sickness sitting in the backseat of a car for 2 blocks.
In real life?
I've never gotten motion sickness on
Ever?
Ever. Not only a couple of games, just like Rush of Blood and maybe Drive Club, have I turned a corner and I felt my body kind of go, oh,
right.
Okay, I better plant my feet back on the ground.
Eyes forward.
Yeah, exactly. But it does have that kind of safety, and you can also manage that too. Like if it doesn't bother you, or if it bothers you too much, you can actually manage it so to help you out better.
I do like that,
because when you are flying around, going from city to city, and you're going like super fast, it's I'm sure it'll help.
Okay.
We're almost down to the bottom here. We got Light Tracer here. This is on another compilation disc, the VR Fun Pack.
Light Tracer.
Light Tracer is an action platformer, very cute. He plays a little anime-esque girl, but instead of moving her, she kind of follows your cursor. Kind of like those old point-and-click adventures where it's like, I want you to go here. So you use your wand, which is shining a light down, and that's the light tracer, is wherever you shine that light, that's where she walks. And you have to climb up this ever-growing monstrosity, like a Jenga or like a Captain Toad level or something like that, where she just keeps going up and up and up, collecting these items and collecting these gems. Where one of your wands controls where she's walking, and then your button also makes her jump across things. And then your other hand controls the level, so you can actually like rotate the level or zoom it in, zoom it out. So you're actually grabbing onto the structure.
Really?
And it was just it was fun to see, and fun to see a game like that you could do, with an action platformer.
Yeah. Huh. Okay. That reminds.
It's been out for a while. It's just one of those things that you might see it and you're like, I don't know, but it's pretty funny.
Yeah, I've played a couple demos of like third-person platformer games like Moss, and I like those. I like those as a break from all the first-person games you typically see.
Right. Yeah, and this is looking from beyond, so you're not.
Yeah.
And Moss is a good example. Or there's another one called Wayward Sky. Same idea.
Okay.
So
cool.
Check that out.
All right.
Final game, and this game I will also right up front before the comments start rolling in is not a hidden gem. However, an option within. Maybe. So this is Battlezone for the PlayStation VR.
Okay.
It's kind of it's one of those, if you have a PlayStation VR, had it for a while, you might already have Battlezone. Pretty fun game. The option within that they just released semi-recently, which is a free patch, it's free, you can play as classic 1980s Battlezone with the green vector lines.
Oh, dude.
And play that in VR.
Oh.
And it's absolutely free. And you can play it either classic tank mode, like where you actually use both analog sticks for your literal tank.
Oh, really?
So you can do that mode, or you can play it with the PlayStation VR Battlezone controls, if that works better for you. They're not going to show a picture on the back because they didn't have it yet.
Yeah, what am I looking at that for? Well, I want to pick that up because actually, it's funny you mentioned that, because this is a game, when I first played this at E3, made me motion sick.
Oh.
Just because it kind of goes, because you're in this tank and you can kind of go all different directions. But I wonder if the vector graphics, it wouldn't do that, because maybe a different sensation. I don't know.
Oh, true. I don't know. I didn't pick it up at first because I suck at it. Because it has the demo. It's on the demo disc.
Yeah.
And I was like, I get it, but not really for me. Until I learned that they had that mode.
The classic mode.
And
that's awesome.
And it was so hidden. Like, they're like, hey, we released this new patch. It's, Battlezone Gold. You gotta check it out. And I was like, I get it. People who play it, that's fine. Not really for me. But then down the list, they're like, oh, and by the way, you can play as the classic Battlezone. It's like, that's the selling point for me. So I bought that just for that mode.
Oh, I'll have to do that.
And it's, it was worth it for me.
Oh, yeah. And that's cool, dude.
All right.
Wow. So, like I mentioned, there are a ton of games that you can get for the VR. I mean, it really surprised me.
Right.
And there's a lot of great experiences. So I think you probably already know about everything that's on the PlayStation VR.
Not all of them. I mean, there's so many games that are still on, like, especially the downloads. There's games that have been out for, like, Vive, Oculus, Gear, and they're just now being like a Dead Secret was one of them. It's already been out on, I think, Gear or Oculus maybe, but they're just now coming over to the PlayStation VR. Okay. So I mean, Sony's putting a lot of effort.
Yeah.
It's not. I don't think it's a gimmick. I don't think it's a flash in the pan thing. I mean, they're really putting a lot of effort into this. So.
Yeah, and so we'd love to know down in the comments if we do another one of these hidden gems, because we certainly could.
Oh yeah.
What games do you like to see in that video? Because I'm always looking for games to play. So
I'm always looking for games to play. So.
Yeah. Well, cool, dude. Where can people find you on the internet?
I am at John Blue Riggs on all social media. I host a YouTube channel that's probably best known for fixing old broken video games, but I like also doing reviews of new PlayStation VR games. And that's right. And I co-host with some of my friends, the PlayStation VR Off-Centered podcast, which is the only podcast that's hyper-specific on PlayStation VR and takes place inside the PlayStation VR. We do it live on YouTube while playing Rec Room, which is a free download.
Oh, okay.
So all of us get together from all over the country, and we do this podcast about PlayStation VR inside the PlayStation VR.
I'll have to check that out.
All
That's
right.
awesome.
Pretty cool.
All right, guys. Thank you very much for watching. Thank you for subscribing, and take care. As you can tell by this video that John and I are really enjoying the PlayStation VR. Way more than I expected to, honestly, but that really just comes down to all the games that are available on it, and there are just a ton of them. So I hope you guys found this Hidden Gems video useful, because we could definitely do more of them. All right, guys, thanks so much for watching.